What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 98, presented
Woo.
by Save the Game Media. I'm your host, Kevin, aka the Muffin Mon, and I'm joined as usual by my co-host, Mr. Physical Copy himself, Ethan. How are you doing, buddy?
I gotta say, Kev, I'm tired. I started this week off at a 7-hour concert, which was more like a 12-hour ordeal because of all the waiting. So I started the week tired. I haven't gotten caught up on sleep yet because I have 6 classes and it's the beginning of the semester. So I'm pretty beat, but I spent all day watching dev interviews, diving into the Gamescom week. So that's been really fun. If you're a fan of video games and nerd culture, this is your week to live. It's so much fun. Get to see all these new games, get to see all these deep dives into gameplay and stuff. So looking forward to capping this week off with a good podcast and moving into the weekend to play some video games and just relax and catch up on sleep.
Absolutely. So you have mixed feelings about your first concert. What was it? Just the waiting and the amount of people? You think if you were at a smaller venue, you would have enjoyed it a little
I
more?
do, and so I just for context, people, I went and saw Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. I keep calling her Joan Jett and the Blackhearts, Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard. The music was awesome. Motley Crue, I don't know, it's just mumble. Like he can barely sing anymore. I think it's Vince Neil or something like that is the lead singer. He can barely sing anymore. So we kind of left because that was the last performance to avoid the traffic. But Def Leppard was amazing. But we were at the Alamo Dome. And for anyone in South Texas, you might know what the Alamo Dome is. It's an old stadium that they built in San Antonio to try and attract a football team, and nobody came. So a college uses it now. 45,000 people packed that place for that concert. It was wild. My ears were ringing from all the yelling and stuff. It was a good time, but the seats, man, they were small. They were uncomfortable. They didn't have cushions. They made us wait outside the venue for 2 hours with no air conditioning, no fans, no shade. It's 100 degrees here in Texas. I got sunburnt. It was not fun. And the lines were terrible. So not a good first experience. I think it's the venue's fault.
For sure.
But I'm hoping to get to some smaller venues once I move back to New England so I can actually experience a good concert.
Absolutely. Well, if you didn't know, we actually talk about video games and not music on this podcast, primarily Xbox, because we're an Xbox podcast. So if you like the show, we are live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time right here on YouTube. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on your favorite podcast service. So while you're over there, please drop us a rating, a review, whether that's Apple, Spotify. It helps us grow. And if you leave us a 5-star review on Apple, we will read it live on the show. Excuse me.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was dying a little bit, but I'm good now. Okay, we recover. If you want to interact with us more, please come join our Discord. The link is in the description down below. And I will tell you, because someone pointed out earlier this week to me, the link we had in the show was not working.
No.
I have fixed it on the link tree and in all of our descriptions. The actual link to the Discord, it will never expire. So no matter when you listen to from here on out, all of our shows, you can come join the Discord. We want to chat with you. Shout out to Elusive Mage who just showed up. Thanks for coming by. And if you want to support us and get early access to all of Save the Game Media's content, like No Limits, Frame by Frame, or I Hate My Friends, plus new Patreon exclusive podcast starting next month. Head on over to patreon.com/Save the Game Media. Choose the tier that's right for you, just like our current Patreon supporters have done. So shout out to Bucky Blue, Hopple, Alpaca Tom, SAZ, Fabulous Brianna, and Brianna's mom. Thank you for your support. We appreciate all of you. And the sun is blasting me in the eye. If you are a video watcher, you can see that going on right now.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to shift. But now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, Ethan.
Yeah.
I want to start like we do every single week and going around the room and asking one question. That question is, what you been playing? And listen, I bet you're not going to talk about many Xbox games.
No, I'm going to talk about one game and one game only, and that's Ghost of Tsushima. So if you guys have been following the podcasts or are on the Discord, I recently got PS5. It's the first PlayStation I've owned since the PlayStation 2, and even the PlayStation 2 was basically a Star Wars Battlefront 2 machine. And I won that at McDonald's. I didn't even buy it. Won it at McDonald's Monopoly. It was great. So this is the first PlayStation I've ever purchased myself. So jumping back into the ecosystem, trying out a lot of their exclusive games and stuff like that. So Ghost of Tsushima has always been on my mind since it released. It looked like an absolutely beautiful game. I've always wanted to get. I almost bought a PS4 just to play it, but I think around the time it came out, there were rumors bubbling up about the PS5 coming out, so I wanted to hold off until I could get the next gen. Who knew we were going to have a pandemic and supply issues and all this stuff? So it's taken a while, but here I am playing Ghost of Tsushima, one of the best video game experiences of my life. This is a great game to start off in the PlayStation ecosystem. It's beautiful. It's emotional. The stories are amazing. The characters are so deep. It's just absolutely fantastic. I think I put about 20 hours into it. I've cleared up the first third of the island. I'm about done with the second third of the island. And yeah, I just absolutely adore this game. We were joking in the Discord about how this is the best Assassin's Creed ever made, and I've come close to agreeing with that. I still don't know if I agree it would be the best Assassin's Creed ever made, because I am an Assassin's Creed super fan, and there's some up there that I love more. But Ghost of Tsushima, absolutely incredible game. It's not crazy long. It doesn't feel like it's going to be crazy long. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm definitely going to be getting this as my first platinum trophy. I think it's just one of the greatest examples of how an environment can make a game. This game is cinematic in almost everything you do. Even the little side quests feel meaningful and impactful. It's not like Assassin's Creed where everything seems like a little fetch quest or just some really dumb, shallow side quest thing that you got to do to check off a box. Everything feels like it's integral to the world. It's part of the story. It builds the character of Jin Sakai, who is the main samurai that you play as. And I think Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most well-crafted games I have ever played as well. There's just so much love and passion that had gone into this development, and it really shines through. Shout out to Brianna for saying that. She put that note in my head. But this game, just it's got its talons in me, and I can't wait to finish it out and get that platinum and move on to Iki Island expansion before I go and explore more of the PlayStation catalog. So sorry to bring up PlayStation and go crazy about it here on Xbox XTalk, but we love all games here, and we don't like that console war stuff. So good things coming from PlayStation.
But when are you getting the Astrobot platinum?
I want to get the Astrobot platinum, but Kevin, you got to think I got games like God of War 2018 looking at me in the face on that PS
You already
Plus.
played that.
I got,
you already played that.
But I want to get the platinum on the PlayStation. I got to have that on the profile. Yeah, I'm replaying it. I got to before Ragnarok drops. I got games like Spider-Man 2018 looking at me in the face. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Astrobot's fun. I will get the platinum eventually, though. I guarantee that. I can't. I'm on a clean slate. I got to get a platinum in every game that I ever play on the PlayStation, folks.
That is not going to end well for
no,
you.
it's not going to. I'm going to go as long as I can, try to get a platinum for everything. But that'll definitely get done. But I'm still up in the air on what the next game I'm going to play for the PlayStation. So we'll have to peruse that catalog a little bit and check out what I want to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure where my next PlayStation game is coming from, to be honest with you. So
yeah,
Astrobot is short. SAZ, it's very short. It's only a few hours.
It's short, but the draw of those other games, it's really strong.
Wow. Ethan, I have played 2 games since we last spoke, and I finished both of them. All right. So when I start Soul Hackers 2 tomorrow, it's going to be my 68th game this
that game
year.
was coming out. No.
All right. So after our podcast last week, I was like, I want a nice little short experience, nothing too long. I went on to my PS5 and I was like, what game can I play? What's the shortest game on the PS catalog? I landed on Ratchet and Clank Quest for Booty.
Nice.
I wish I could say it was nice. All right.
Oh,
this game, not good.
Really?
Yes.
A Ratchet and Clank game?
It was about 3 to 4 hours long, so very short. The storyline was completely pointless, and it felt like they literally just made this game to push it out. It was almost a DLC feeling game. Like this game had
That's what I was going
nothing
to ask. That doesn't seem right for Ratchet and Clank to only be 3 or 4 hours long. So this is very much a one-off like side project.
Very much. Like Clank is in it for maybe 5 minutes. And I know it's kind of like in the middle of an overarching storyline for the older Ratchet and Clank games, which they've since gotten rid of. But I don't think I'm going to go back and play the other ones. First of all, this was the worst streaming experience I've had. There was a lot of
Oh yeah, you gotta
lag and
stream it.
it was very, very bad. So I definitely don't think I'm going to go play more of the Ratchet. I think I'm just going to stick with, I love Ratchet 2016, Rift Apart. I'm going to stick with this new continuity and go forward there. But the other ones, I don't think I'm going to go back to, especially because they're not like canon anymore. They're not like part of the Ratchet universe.
3D platformers, not the games to stream. I can't imagine it was
This
different.
one was very 3D platformy. Like there was some shooting parts in it, but really not that much compared to the other Ratchet games.
Yeah, because I've heard the Ratchet and Clank games, people describe it more as a 3D shooter instead of a platformer. I've heard some
I still
people
think
say
it's
that.
a 3D platform. I know what you're talking about, but I would still classify it as a platformer. And this game, no trophies. There's no record that I ever played
None.
this game. No, not must have been before they had trophies. I don't know what's going
I
on
wouldn't
there.
have even kept playing, Kevin. You know me. I gotta
didn't
have
notice
trophies
for
or
the
achievements.
longest time. I was like almost done with it. I was like, I haven't popped any trophies. And
Yeah,
then I
that's
tried to
weird.
go look at a list, and there was no list. And I was like, what?
That's a
What?
shame.
Yeah, I didn't know there were PS3 games without trophies. I didn't know that was a thing. But
Hmm.
the other game, more Xbox centric, because it just hit Game Pass on Tuesday.
Mhm.
I have played and beaten Midnight Fight Express, the crazy what's the game? Hotline Miami type S game that just hit Game Pass. This game, when I first started it, I was like, okay, this is a fun little brawler type game. I think we'll probably do a Game Pass and review for it. Once you beat it, I have a bunch of clips. I'm going to show off some stuff. This game, one, very violent, loved it, crazy over the top, like blood splurts, and
Nice.
yeah, it's awesome. But the more you play this game, the better it gets. I think it's difficult at certain parts, especially some boss battles. But the more you play and unlock abilities, the better this game gets. Your combat, the animations look so much cooler the further you go into this game. So it was awesome. Like a tight little, I want to say it was like 4 to 5 hours for me. I think that's what I beat it in. So if you enjoy those types of games, definitely check this one out on Game Pass.
Yeah, that's really good to hear because that's really indicative of good game design where the combat isn't getting, stale as you go throughout, and the different abilities that you unlock actually keep the combat fresh. I find that a lot in what I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima. You get so many different sword type stances and everything, and all the abilities really add on to the experience of the combat. So that actually sounds really promising, and I am excited to play this. I have it downloaded, ready to go. I just can't bring myself to pull myself away of Ghost of Tsushima right now, but I'm almost done. I think before I move on to the Iki Island expansion, I'll definitely be hitting up Midnight Fight Express so we can do that Game Pass and review. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. SAZ says single dev. Yes, it was made by
crazy.
one person. He did have some help, bro. The soundtrack to this game.
Oh yeah.
If you're looking
synthwave, retro wave type stuff.
My god,
yeah,
bro!
I'm so excited.
Like, there's no voice acting in the game, and normally for those types of games, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to a podcast or something because I don't need to hear anything. I intentionally had my headphones on the entire time I played it because every level was a banger after banger with the soundtrack.
So I got to ask, how would you compare it to The Ascent? Because The Ascent is really that type of game that you're describing where at first I was like, oh, there's not really a lot of dialogue. I'm going to listen to a podcast or watch YouTube while I'm playing. But then the soundtrack really captured me and I had to wear headphones while playing The Ascent. What would you compare?
I've never played The Ascent.
Really?
Yeah, never played it.
You got to try it out, Kevin.
1 hour, one decision. Shout out. What awesome show over there. Might need to try again, but it didn't draw me into it with the demo. I didn't know there was a demo, but
I didn't either.
Like I said, yeah, the first few missions, you're like, okay, this is a basic beat 'em up, like button masher.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the further you get into this game, the better it gets. Yes, the controls do take a little bit to get used to, but you can remap all of them in the final game. So
I'm too
don't
lazy
let
to do that,
don't
Kevin.
let that be the don't let that be the reason that like you don't play it, because I think there is a really enjoyable experience there if you enjoy those types of games.
That's really good to hear. I'm excited.
Yeah, good times. So we can do a segue. So why don't you have a seat? You're already sitting while I grab some books from the library and tell you this week's stories. Story number 1. Gamescom Opening Night Live 2022, and really the whole week. We're going to do a little recap highlight session because Opening Night Live 2022 was on Tuesday, and Geoff Keighley's most recent showcase, as usual, has had a mixed response. However, the 2-hour showcase did show off new trailers for announced games and had plenty of new game announcements. So we're going to give you a rundown of the show for games coming to Xbox. There were some dope looking games. I know Where Wind Meets or whatever, that sweet Chinese inspired Ghost of Tsushima-esque game looked amazing. Only coming to PC, so I'm not going to talk about it.
Really?
Yes, it's only coming to PC right now.
I saw that preview and I'm like, are they doing another expansion for Ghost of Tsushima or something? Did I just hit the gold mine? But no. It's not it.
So, Ethan, we're going to start off, and we will go through the rundown. If you want to talk about a game, you can stop me. But I'm going to start off. They kicked off the show with the announcement for a game called Everywhere, and I'm going to tell you right now.
Ooh.
The only thing I got from this trailer was I have no idea what this game is.
Yeah, no, the trailer was very vague. We've heard this before in games and in the industry and in game development, and that there are people out there that are biting off way more that they can chew, saying that, oh, you can do anything in our world, and then it ends up being a really shallow, boring experience that dies in the first year. I have a very good feeling that this is going to go that route. From what I saw of what little they showed, I did not care for it. There's also reports that dropped, I think, this morning that they were looking for hires for specialists in Web 3.0, or AKA the blockchain. So NFTs, cryptocurrency. So this seems like it's just going to be another scammy, predatory sort of metaverse blockchain game that nobody wants to see. And I'm really surprised that they showed this at Opening Night Live, especially as the first game they showed. That really kind of shocked me. I don't know if I agree with that decision, but I'm wondering if maybe the team over at Opening Night Live or Geoff Keighley didn't really know about the whole NFT blockchain thing, because gamers don't like that. That's not what we want.
How could he know when he saw the trailer and was like, I have no idea what this is? And then
He did say, I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming he green lights stuff for the show. He's not going to show everything,
They did a dev interview afterwards, and even the developer was like, "Oh, we can't really tell you what the game is." Yeah, I was like,
because there's no vision.
Yeah, this seems like you're trying to have people send to you job applications. Is my overall feeling for the trailer.
There's a lot of games, especially the Steam store is really bad in this. A lot of games that will overpromise things and say that we're going to build this grand world where you can do anything, and it never comes to fruition. We're not at the point yet where we're going to have a Ready Player One experience, for games, and I don't think this is it. This seems like a metaverse, Mark Zuckerberg program that I don't want any part of. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, moving on from that, we got the trailer for Dune Awakening, the second Dune game after, I believe it's called Spice Wars, which is an RTS that's being developed. But Dune Awakening comes from Funcom and is a new open world survival MMO coming to all platforms. This one, I don't know what to say about it. It was not the type of game I expected, an open world survival MMO.
I think it's going to be popular, especially if it's well made. Obviously, if it's crap, it's not going to be popular. But if they hit the head on the nail with this, I mean, Rust has seen a resurgence recently. People are loving games like that. Just the desert biome itself, that there's a lot of survival games that kind of center around that. And I don't know, MMO, I'm out. You know me, I'm not a big fan of MMOs or MMORPGs. But when I first saw that Dune logo, I got really excited because I thought we were going to get like a third person action adventure or RPG in the Doom universe. I still think that should be a thing. But MMOs, I'm out. I don't got too much to say about this.
Yeah, my initial reaction was like, okay, this is gonna go into like an action adventure game where he's gonna be like the main character, like hack and slash type style game, and then to have it revealed it's a survival MMO, I was really
when I first saw it, I almost thought that there was going to be kind of like a Shadow of the Colossus type of boss battle with the sandworm, because he had the two kind of hook weapons, and I thought maybe there was going to be some Shadow of the Colossus boss battle type things going on, but yeah, that didn't happen. So whatever.
Wait to see more. It was just a CGI trailer. Ethan, this next one's for you. The Callisto Protocol.
Got to talk about it.
further shown off. Game continues to look beautiful. Really,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna play it, but I know plenty of
No,
people are
I'm not
excited
either.
for it.
I'm not gonna play it either, but I love watching these gameplay trailers. It looks absolutely incredible, and I'm so happy that this team is able to get back into the sci-fi horror genre where they actually want to be. I know the lead dev, I forget his name, the guy that was talking at opening night live. He went and worked on Call of Duty for a long time, but he said in the dev interviews, especially today, that this is his true passion, is horror and sci-fi, and it looks nothing but a good time. It looks amazing. For horror fans, this is going to be an incredible game for you. They showed off a mutation system where if you shoot limbs off of enemies, if you don't stop them from growing out different limbs, they're going to get tougher and harder. And I think this game is going to have really dynamic gameplay. It looks really fun. Maybe if I turn the lights on, turn a podcast on, I might be able to play it. I doubt it. I might just buy it and play 2 hours of it and get too scared and run away like I usually do with these games.
Yep.
But looks amazing.
Ghostly March says Game of the Year contender, calling it now.
Is it going to come out
I don't think it's coming out in time to meet the criteria. It'll be eligible for next year, but I mean, if your personal Game of the Year of 2022 for sure, it can it can go in there. But
it'll qualify for our Game of the Year episode, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Sure, we just need some people to play it. Elusive Mage also says can't wait for that. So, like I said, people are hyped for Callisto Protocol. I hope it doesn't get delayed. For me, my personal feeling, and I know some other people like our buddy Sean Capri over there thinks it's getting delayed. I think the game's going to come out. I'm just the way they're marketing it. They seem very confident that they can hit that December 2nd release date.
Yeah, in that dev interview that he did today, he was talking to, I think, Brian Altano over at IGN. He was talking about, he asked him, hey, where are you guys in development? And he just said, we're in bug killing mode. We're just balancing it right now. We're tweaking it up when we need to see it, but the base game is pretty much done. So I think they're on track to meet that December release date. And I can't wait to see this in players' hands and watch some gameplay, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to power through this one. There's something like, they said something like 200,000 specific noises that are integrated in this game, and like 500 of them are related to your suit, and that just screams such an immersive horror experience to me, something that I probably won't be able to handle. So it'll be interesting to see.
They're just there to scare you.
Yeah.
Next, we got the sequel to Lords of the Fallen with The Lords of the Fallen. They dropped the 2. This is a Souls-like game from Hexworks Studio targeting next year. I thought the trailer was awesome, but as soon as I realized what it was, I was like, all right, it's not a game for me. Like,
it looks cool.
Trailer.
Yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a Souls-like. I don't know if I'm going to jump into it, because Souls-likes, that's a lot of dedication to play one of those games, so I don't know if that's something that I would pick up unless it's a mainline FromSoft game. But
we'll probably touch on this when we get to another game. But I've noticed a lot of Souls-like games kind of are all getting the same aesthetic.
Really dark gothic type of setting.
That fantasy vibe, which awesome. I love that aesthetic, but really they need to mix it up. I think we're going to see that when we're going to talk about another.
Yeah, we're going to talk about another Souls like that. Definitely, I think it hits that mark.
Richard Delval in the chat says, hi, I have a very something. I have been there buying a Xbox Series X or a Switch next. Dilemma, I think he means. What are your thoughts between an Xbox Series X and a Switch? Go with Xbox, 100%. The Switch
wait until Switch comes out with their next iteration. If you want to pick up.
Switch is 5-year-old at this point. You might as well get you might as well get Xbox Series X, get Game Pass. That'll
get that next gen
hold
experience
you completely over until whatever the Switch 2, Switch Pro comes out for sure. Yeah. Next we have Moving Out 2. I don't have anything to say about this. People love Moving Out.
I've heard comparisons to like Unpacking and
Overcooked. It's overcooked but moving.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Multiplayer game. I can hardly get one person to play a game in one night. Everyone's doing their own thing. So to get like 3 or 4 people together for the same game, if it's on Game Pass, that's easy. But I don't think this is coming. So
yeah, for sure. SAZ agrees with us, by the way. He says Switch is 5.5 years old and antiquated when it dropped.
Yeah.
So for sure. Next is new Tales from the Borderlands. Officially revealed. We knew about it. It was leaked forever ago, out October 21st.
Yeah.
I'm not really a Borderlands guy. I know my brother is super pumped for anything Borderlands. He loves the series, so he'll definitely be grabbing this one. it's a Telltale game, but not for me.
Yeah, not really for me either. I do like the Borderlands series, but I haven't ever played any of the Tales from the Borderlands. Maybe I'll jump into it. We'll see.
Shout out to Mav, fun speculation in the chat. Thanks for stopping by, buddy.
Thank you.
Next one, I'm just gonna skip Tortuga, a Pirate's Tale.
Why did you add this?
Because it's new when it says it. I literally just put WTF. Like I don't even know. Like it's the most generic looking pirate game I've ever seen in my
At first,
life.
I thought it was like a Sea of Thieves update, and they were showing off like the ship customizations. I'm like, they already did that with Season 7 in Sea of Thieves, and then it just showed that pirate Tortuga. It just went quiet, and I was watching a live react, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay."
I live reacted with
Yeah.
Ryan over at Carpool Gaming,
Yep.
and we thought it was like a commercial. Like we didn't know it was like.
That's what
showing
I
us a
thought
game.
too. I'm like, oh, they're showing ads for like mobile games. No, this is just
literally though. That's what we thought.
So sorry if anybody's listening from the Tortuga team.
If you're excited for Tortuga, I'm sorry.
My bad.
Sonic Frontiers got a new story trailer where it showed off you're gonna be rescuing, I assume, your friends, because it showed you going to Amy.
Yeah.
Sonic, she's trapped. I assume the other Tails, Knuckles, I hope Shadow, and some of the other crew are all gonna be trapped, and maybe after you rescue them, something changes. That would be awesome. But we finally got the release date, and that's really what we're gonna talk about. November 8th. Sonic Frontiers.
The gall of them to do this. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. You're going on the back burner, my friend.
Sega said, hey, Sony, look at us. Look at me in the eyes, all right? Fuck God of War.
Yeah. Okay, Sega. Look, I am tentatively excited about this. I think it looks pretty cool. I think, the open world with the Sonic traversal is something that interests me. I'm glad they kind of delved into the story a little more with this story trailer. But man, you're coming out at a bad time, and Sonic has not proved itself in a very long time, at least to me, to make good games. And if you think I'm going to pick that up over some of these other games that are coming out in November, then I don't know what you're smoking. But
I mean, Skull and Bones is right there.
Oh yeah, Skull and Bones, Kevin. That's November for me.
Listen, no, I am excited. I think Sonic Frontiers actually looks good, and I want to play it.
Yeah,
I am not there on day one because God of War is the next day, and then we have Evil West coming out a few 10 days later or something.
Yeah, November.
I will grab Sonic Frontiers when it's on sale. Like that is where I'm at with this game.
Yeah.
I hope, even if it doesn't score like super well, I still want to try it. Like I still think it looks good. I like 3D Sonic games, but I understand God of War is only on PlayStation. Sonic's going to be on everything. Sega doesn't really they're just going to get sales. Like it's still going to sell well. But you are kind of sending this game out to die. In my
especially if it doesn't hit good with reviewers. Like if it comes out and it's kind of botched, like if it has a Saints Row moment, man, I don't know if Sega's ever gonna make a Sonic game again. This is ride or die right here. We need what they're doing. We need a good product out of this.
I did hear apparently there's a Sonic manga series, and the writer that makes the Sonic manga is writing for this. That's what I heard. I don't know if that's true.
Does anyone play Sonic for the writing though?
Bro, Adventure 2, Adventure Heroes had good stories. All right. So,
okay.
I'll
take your word for it.
There are Sonic games with good stories.
Okay,
we haven't had one in 15 years, but they're out there. All right.
All right.
Next, we got Quantic Dream revealing their new narrative-driven adventure game called Under the Waves. I couldn't have been more bored.
Yeah, all right. I'm opposite here. I think this looks cool. I love my slow, narrative, emotional adventure games. And this game, apparently, the story takes place. You're hired by an oil or a petroleum company, and basically their offshore oil rig went Deepwater Horizon and blew up, and it's on fire. And you have to go down there and figure out how to stop the things that are happening. And apparently, it's a very emotional game that you go through. It's not going to be very long. I did watch a dev interview on this as well, and it's going to hit you with some challenging things, and it's going to be a game that kind of puts different social issues in your face and give you an emotional response to those. So it's something that's definitely on my radar. Not like I said, it's not going to be a long experience. It's just something that's kind of sending a message in a way. But I'm pretty excited for this. It's definitely something I think I'll pick up and play in a day.
Yeah. I mean, it's Quantic Dream. They're good. They're known for these types of games,
Well,
right?
they're not developing it, right? They're just publishing this one, I believe.
Really? I thought they were
Yes.
developing it.
No, because they're working on Star Wars Eclipse right now, right?
Well, that
I'm
game's
pretty
like
sure
8 years away.
yeah,
Under the Waves
I believe they're
game.
publishing it. I'm not sure who's developing it though.
Oh, it is published by Quantic Dream. You're right. It's being developed by Parallel.
Parallel, I don't recognize them, but
Let's see what they've done.
hey, Quantic Dream knows a good game, and they saw something in this that they're willing to go ahead and publish it. So
Yeah, for sure.
it's a nice little check mark right there.
Next game I'm tentatively interested in, Moonbreaker. It's being developed by the Subnautica developers, Unknown Worlds. It's a tabletop strategy game where you get like figurines, you can paint them. They do turn-based combat. They spend a lot of time on the painting. They're like, look at all the detail. You can do the little
Yeah.
circle, and I'm like, I'm gonna paint them all the same color. I just really want to
Exactly.
fight my figurines.
This is very much a niche market type of game, I think. I actually did play a bit of Warhammer back in the day when I was in the Navy. We had a little team like we put together and we played Warhammer games. So I actually have painted those little figurines. And, I'm the type of person like I don't want to spend any time painting these. I just want to use the base gray ones and play the game. So that I think the main selling point of this is going to be the customization options and how you can paint them like you would in real life playing a Warhammer game or Dungeons and Dragons or any game like that. But definitely not a selling point for me.
Yeah, no. Mav in the chat says gonna play on Steam Deck, but really hope it ends up coming to console. Oh, is it not coming to? I thought it was coming to console. That's why I included it on the list. Man,
Oh,
I hope it does. I
you know what?
can't.
Now that I'm thinking of it, the painting mechanic kind of pain in the butt if you're using a controller. So I think this is definitely a PC game that
But Subnautica is so. I feel like they would want to get this game onto like Subnautica is big everywhere.
didn't Subnautica start on PC though?
Yeah,
if I remember correctly?
which is why I think like eventually it will come. But
Yeah, probably eventually once they get a community. I loved Subnautica. I thought that was a great survival game, a wonderful survival game. So hopefully it takes the same turn there and comes to console. I'd try it out if it were on Game Pass or something like that.
For sure. Next, I think is the game we were all been waiting to talk about, the one that the internet has loved, Lies of P. It's a Souls-like Pinocchio game coming day one to Game Pass next year. Tell you what, this trailer was awesome. This might have been the best trailer of the show. It's just a shame that like I don't like Souls-like games. The fact it's coming to Game Pass makes me more like I can try it without spending money because it does look fantastic.
So yeah, I absolutely fell in love with this when I first saw it. I think this is the shakeup of the Souls-like genre that we really need. Something really new and fresh that's out of that art style like we were talking about earlier. And I watched that dev interview, and I think they said something along the lines of how this is a little more accessible than your normal Souls type game. It's not going to be as hardcore. It's still obviously going to be difficult. Like, don't take that as this is going to be easy. We said Elden Ring was going to be more accessible, and that's still hard as hell. But this game's going to be a little more accessible, and for it being on Game Pass, I think it's something that a lot of people that may not be too into Souls-like games should probably go and check out. Maybe it's a nice little on ramp to a Souls-like games. And it just looks really interesting. It looks unique. It looks novel. It looks fun. I'm ready to jump into it.
SAC, but do we get swallowed by a whale in that game? I said the exact same thing to Ryan during the live react. I was like, but where's the giant whale? What's going on? You better fight a giant whale. Like if you're not gonna let me get swallowed by him, you better have a whale enemy of some sort. Because what I think is really interesting about this game is that it is moving away from that gothic high fantasy, like we were just talking about, style of Souls like games. It's refreshing. It feels refreshing just looking at it. I'm like, okay, something new in the genre. We're mixing it up. We've had a few anime one, like I know Code Vein, but even that kind of still had that drabby gothic type, like there's vampires and all this other stuff. So this is interesting. I'm excited. I just want to like it. Like as long as it's not overly difficult and punishing. If there's accessibility options, even better.
Looking at the gameplay, a lot of the battles and the fighting, it didn't seem like something that was as difficult as, let's say, Elden Ring. The enemies didn't seem as dynamic as a From Software game where they're changing up their strategy based on how you're fighting them, and they seemed a little slower. The parries may be easier, the blocks may be easier, the rolls may be easier. So hopefully this is more accessible for people, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Ghostly March, yeah, but can I lie and make my nose big and use that as a weapon?
The
Maybe.
Saints Row, I don't know.
Saints Row. Tell you what, Ryan Turford really liking Saints Row.
Really?
Yeah, he
Surprised. I gotta
yeah.
say, because I haven't said this yet, Saints Row, for one of the few games that I've ever stopped myself from buying because of reviews. That's pretty crazy. I never do that, but
Can't blame you, to be
yeah.
fair. Next up, we have my game of the show, personally, Atlas Fallen, coming from Focus Home Entertainment and Deck 13. They're known for games like The Surge, which are Souls-like games. This is not a Souls-like, thank God, because
Yep.
this game looks awesome. I had this the trailer starts out with a bunch of sand and some warriors fighting like some sand monsters. I was sold on that. Then you get little snippets of gameplay where you're like hovering and flying all across the sand. Looks like it's co-op.
Mhm.
Nice action adventure type game. They said it's similar to God of War, Horizon, those types of games. So I'm in. I can't wait 2023 for this. Focus Home continues to elevate themselves in my eyes.
Yeah, this game just looks incredible. This looks like a truly, I'm going to say, current gen experience. This seems like something that's going to take full advantage of 4K, HDR, 60 frames per second. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. The particle effects look crazy, and it just looks like a giant adventure that I'm excited to jump into. I'm glad that we're getting a sort of. Would you call this a JRPG?
No, it's not. It's not Japanese. So
It's not.
I no, as far as I know, it's not Japanese. I think it's definitely more. It's going to be more of a Western action adventure
It
game,
just
if
seems
anything.
very inspired by JRPGs because of the big weapons, the big bosses, and the big expansive world. But
Certainly possible. We'll have to see
it looks
more.
right up my alley. I mean, I'm really excited for this. Yeah.
Yeah, this game looks awesome. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the next multiplayer IP game like Friday the 13th, coming early next year. Not the IP I would have ever expected to be
No,
turned
and
into one of these games.
it looks fun. It
It does
looks
look fun.
good.
It
Like, I
does
don't
look fun.
play Friday the 13th. I've never been into those multiplayer only games. I play them every now and then when I have a group together, but this looks something I want to jump into. I mean, this looks really interesting to me.
Kevin, can you drop the name of this game you're excited for? Oh yes, yeah, I'll put it in the chat for you. Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with you. First of all, I don't know if Friday the 13th servers are still online, but we should play one of those like as a
I think
save the
they are.
game like group night. Like that would
Yeah,
be
that'd be fun.
hilarious.
That'd be a
That
good
would be
time.
fantastic. But this game looks so silly and like I just I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that CGI trailer, that was one of this opening night live was heavy with CGI, which I don't really care for, but some of them looked really cool. This was one of them. I really like to see
Mhm.
them showing up at the door and all the clowns showing their faces. You're like, what the heck is this going? But it looks really fun. I'm really excited.
Next up, we just have a cinematic trailer called Word Song coming from former Bethesda lead Jeff Gardner. Um, Literally no idea what this game is, except that it's probably going to be a Western RPG because the
Yeah,
trailer the trailer was literally just listing he's worked on Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas,
yeah.
Skyrim, like all these Western RPGs that he's had hands in,
They're
and
just trying
then
to generate hype
you
for it.
yeah you get a very like I don't even know what to describe it. You see a character model, it shifts sort of from like light to dark, and then it says the title. Like there's literally nothing to go on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about this, so we can move on.
Phantom Hellcat. It's a 2D, 3D hack and slash game. This game looked awesome, and I think they should have spent more time on it. You got a quick little trailer for it, almost like during one of the commercial breaks. But loved the art style, loved the gameplay looking of this game. Kind of gave some near vibes at certain points, but I'm sold on this one. It looks
You're
fantastic.
sold on it. Wow.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting that one.
Yeah, it looks interesting. Something that is definitely on my radar. I don't really got much to say about it because this isn't really my type of game, but yeah.
Mm. Next one I'm also sold on, also coming from Focus Home, is a game called Blacktail. It's a game about witchcraft, and it's the one with the bow and arrow. They showed off first person perspective. You get to decide if you're going to be a good witch, a bad witch. I thought it looked sweet. I think I've seen this game one other time. I was interested then. I'm interested now. It's supposed to be coming out this year. Nice little double A indie style game. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, this looks really cool. I mean, it reminds me of the first person bow and arrow kind of gameplay that we saw immediately brought me to like Far Cry or something like that. I love Far Cry's bow and arrow physics, and this looks like something that I could really get into. The different biomes and the different worlds. I'm looking at the trailer right now. They look crazy. I mean, it looks really beautiful too. So I'm excited for this as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then rounding out the show, the one more thing, Dead Island 2, which we talked about last week, that was leaked. What a lackluster one more thing. I could not have cared less.
Really? Because I liked the trailer. I really liked what
Really?
I saw. And let me explain. So I think, first of all, it's crazy that 2 months ago, Dead Island 2 was this dead, you know, hidden IP that nobody was thinking about anymore. We all thought that this was dead and gone and that it was just in development hell. Now all of a sudden they're coming out with full-on trailers with gameplay, and it looks good. It looks a lot like Dying Light 2. Hopefully it comes out less buggy than Dying Light 2, but I think what differentiates this from Dying Light 2 in that the world is more colorful. It seems to have more personality. It seems more vibrant, and I'm really excited. They showed that pan over the city during the CGI moment, so I'm hoping for a very big, expansive open world. Again, though, zombie game. I'm probably not going to be able to play this unless it's multiplayer. It's a shame because I think this looks really, really dope. I think this looks really cool. It's something I would love to get into. I have played the first Dying Light just because I love the environment of Dying Light. I love, like I just said, it's more vibrant, more colorful. I love that sort of environment in an open world game. And I would love to try and play this and try and get over my fear to play this. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but I'm pretty positive on this trailer. I think it showed off a lot of good stuff. I love the gore mechanics. I love the different weapons. I think they really showed off how you can customize weapons. They showed that rifle with the pike head on the top and the barbed wire around the shoulder rest. It just looked really cool. So I'm pretty excited for this.
Mm. Well, apparently everyone in the chat is as well. I'm the outlier here, so
Yeah,
maybe
the
there was
outlier.
something. Ryan Turford actually asked me when we were live reacting, which game do I think would score better, Saints Row or Dead Island 2? And I said Dead Island 2 is going to score
Yeah.
better.
Oh, it will.
He seems to disagree. He seems to think Dead
Well,
Island
we
is
already
gonna
know
get
Saints
like
Row score. It's like 60 something. It's
yeah,
awful.
like 59, but he seems to think Dead
Yeah.
Island 2 is going to score worse than that. And I have a hard time believing that.
The only thing that I'm sort of worried about is because it's been in development hell for so long that maybe the game direction isn't very well made because they had to change up things so much, and maybe there's a lot of bugs because they had to rush this out because finally the studio or the publisher got sick and tired of them sitting on it and be like, you guys have to release this game. We've been spending too much money on it. That's what worries me the most. I really hope that's not the case. So we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, did the gameplay look awful? No, but
No.
I don't know if the time has come and gone, right, for these styles of games. In my opinion, the Left 4 Dead craze is kind of over. We saw Back 4 Blood come out last year, which was supposed to reignite it. That game flopped pretty hard. It was
I don't
fine,
know,
wasn't
Kevin.
great.
Dying Light 2, even with its bugs and its faults, was still a very popular game. People love that.
I felt like people talked about Dying Light 2 for like 2 days and then nothing. Like
I
nobody
mean, they're
cares
still
about
getting
Dying Light,
DLC
right?
updates because, there's still people playing this game, and the parkour elements in Dying Light 2 especially were something people really loved, and the world building. Obviously, it had its bugs. I ran into a game-breaking bug, which pretty much stopped my experience, but I think there's still a market for games like this. I mean, you put open world, post-apocalyptic survival game, people are going to eat that up, Kevin. Zombies or not.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope Dead Island 2 comes out and it's like an 87 and it's phenomenal. Like that's
Yeah.
the best case scenario because I'll be sweet, pick it up, have fun with friends. Like literally the best case scenario.
We'll see.
Captain Logan. Zombie games are still popular. The Last of Us Part 1.
Last of Us are zombie games. I mean, they're technically fungus monsters. I've heard people say that, but they're zombies, folks. They're zombies. Come on now.
Well, that is Gamescom Opening Night Live 2022. But we're not done with the Gamescom announcements, because story number 2, Pentiment finally has a release date. The only Xbox announcement coming out of Gamescom so far is the official release date for Pentiment, Obsidian and Josh Sawyer's new narrative game. It's launching November 15th. I think this goes. We saw some previews along with this. I don't know if you saw any of the previews, Ethan. How are you feeling about Pentiment now that you got some more time to digest it? We've seen some more previews.
I am going to play it because it's by Obsidian, and that's one of my favorite developers. And I really appreciate that the folks over at Obsidian allowed this dev team to go to the side and make a little passion project like this, and not necessarily work on a crazy grand game like they've been doing. And I think it looks interesting. It's novel. It's something I haven't seen before. I think Call to Cavalry is the only other game that I can think of that's on Game Pass that's sort of in this medieval art style, and that's kind of a comedy game more than anything. I'm not sure what the vibe is from this game yet, so we'll see. It's coming out in November, so again, we have that packed house there, but I can't imagine this being a super long experience, so this might be another one of those games that I can sneak into November and play in 1 or 2 days and go back to God of War. But either way, I appreciate that Obsidian's allowing their devs to go on little side projects like this and do these passion projects. It's something interesting, just adding value to Game Pass.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that they're letting them explore. Do I think this game doesn't look like it's for me? The art style, for one, is putting me off.
Yeah.
It is definitely going to be a shorter experience. It's being sold for $20, which gives you an idea. Like, it is a very small project. But the last time Obsidian did a small project that kind of blew up, right? Was Grounded. Grounded was a very small project.
It's not small anymore.
Been massively successful.
1.0 is coming out.
Josh Sawyer has a proven track record for story games, for narrative like this. So this game is it going to blow everyone away? Game of the War? Absolutely not. But it could be a good experience that adds value to your subscription, and that's really all you need in the service.
Yeah, and just recently, As Dusk Falls was another game that really challenged my perception of art styles and games. And that when I went into As Dusk Falls, I was worried because I'm like, I just don't think I'm going to like this art style. I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. But the writing and the storytelling was so impactful and so good that I overlooked it. I thought the art style worked with it well. I'm hoping this is another one of those cases where I'm going into it. It doesn't look the best, but the storytelling really overshadows that and turns it into an incredible experience.
About a week after God of War, so I don't think it's the best release date. Also, Skull and Bones, Sonic, you know what I'm saying?
Skull and Bones, Kevin. It's coming
Skull
out.
and Bones, game of the year. Listen, I'm not trying. If you're genuinely excited for Skull and Bones, great. Like, that's everyone can like what they like. I just think it's funny to rag on Ubisoft. Yeah, to rag on Ubisoft. The previews though have been pretty mixed from what I've seen. I've seen some people, I think Steve Vergari over, but I want to say friend of the show. He's never been on the show, but I've podcasted with him from Carpool. He did a preview. He was pretty positive on it. But I've seen Mr. Matty Plays did a preview on it. He wasn't that hot on it. So it's really definitely, it's not going to appeal to everyone.
Yeah, it seems like one of those games that, you're going to pick it up. You're either going to love it or you're going to hate it.
Well, we can move on to story number 3 because Saudi Arabia has approved the Activision Blizzard deal. So we are seeing the first steps in Xbox's acquisition of ABK come to fruition. Saudi Arabia became the first regulatory body to approve the acquisition, and while not one of the major bodies, the deal is moving at a great pace. In addition, Phil Spencer sat down with Bloomberg and stated, quote, "I feel good about the progress that we've been making, but I go into the process supportive of people who maybe aren't as close to the gaming industry, asking good, hard questions about what is our intent? What does this mean? If you play it out over 5 years, is this constricting a market? Is it growing a market?" So I don't really have much to say. It seems like the deal is going to go through. I've always had that opinion. It's just we're finally seeing it. Phil seems pretty confident that he's answering all the right questions.
Yeah.
The regulatory, we talked about the Brazil stuff. We don't really need to spend much time on this. I did just want to note it for people that are interested.
Yeah, for sure. I don't really got too much to say on it either.
Great. Yes, that's the one. The second part of that same interview where he stated Activision Blizzard is committed to fixing their issues, and he vowed to work with the newly formed unions for workers' rights. However, one talking point from the interview is that Phil Spencer believes exclusives are, quote, something we're just going to see less and less of. Maybe you happen in your household to buy an Xbox and I buy a PlayStation, and our kids want to play together, and they can't because we bought the wrong piece of plastic to plug into our television. We really love to be able to bring more players in reducing friction, making people feel safe, secure when they're playing, allowing them to find their friends, play with their friends, regardless of what device. I think in the long run, that's going to be good for the industry. And maybe in the short run, there's some people in some companies that don't love it. But I think as we get over the hump and see where this industry can continue to grow, it proves out to be true. I've seen a lot of people taking this. Phil Spencer doesn't believe in exclusives. They're all going to come to an end. No console's going to have exclusives anymore. Do you think that's going to be the case? You think people are running wild here?
No, there's always going to be exclusives. I feel like, because if you don't have exclusives, then your console's not special anymore. Because at this point, honestly, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X performance-wise are pretty much the same thing. You can do 4K, UHD, 60 frames per second. You can do cloud streaming. Yeah, like I said, at this point, there's not really any difference. It's not like the PC market where these graphic cards are really competing to up the power in your PC. These boxes are essentially the same. They can play the same games. Any PlayStation 5 exclusive could run on an Xbox Series X if it was ported over, and vice versa. And I honestly, some people may disagree with me on this, and I get it because I get both sides of the argument. I wouldn't want exclusive to disappear, because to me, when you think of a console, you're thinking of that ecosystem and you have those memories attached to it. When I think of Xbox, I think of Halo, Fable, Gears of War. When I think of PlayStation, I think of Ratchet and Clank. I think of Ghost of Tsushima. I think of, Hideo Kojima projects. I think, there's this ecosystem that we build around these consoles. And as toxic as it can get at times, at the end of the day, most gamers out there love their ecosystems. They love the identity of the console that they play, and they're not toxic about it. And I think I would like to maintain that. I don't want consoles to just be like, well, what's the point in deciding? At that point, you're just buying it because you like the aesthetic of one console over the other, because they're going to do the same thing. They're going to play the same games. And, you're just going to be buying for, oh, is this UI more pleasurable to my eyes? That just seems boring to me. I want to see competition, because that innovates, and that makes games better. And I want to see competition because I want people to still have those attached memories to different consoles.
Sorry,
Court
Court
Lalonde.
Lalonde over on our Twitch chat. PlayStation rules,
Drools.
Xbox rules. Nice Court, nice. You can find Court over on the PlayStation Drive. But no. So in terms of the exclusive conversation, I think what he's referring to is primarily multiplayer games. We're probably going to see those barriers break down. Like
Good.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is probably the first big, like, they're now going to be an Xbox first party, but it is going to be on PlayStation. You're going to have crossplay, maybe I don't know if they have cross progression. They probably do. They're going to see those types of games break the walls down. And those games, third party games especially, get rid of exclusivity for those. Make it just that first party single player games are probably going to be what you associate with consoles. Other types of games, the multiplayer live service things, you're going to see the barriers break down, especially between PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah.
But even the PC market, exclusive no longer means, and I think Tom brought this up, the concept of exclusives can change. The game is only available on Game Pass or Netflix or whatever. 100%. Before when you said exclusive, it meant, okay, only on this machine. We're now at a point where we're seeing terms like console exclusive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's coming to PC as well. So we are seeing this big transition of marketing terms and just really defining, like, hey, it's available in this certain location. But I think that's going to change, especially with Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Court says, I wish all games were on all consoles. I get the sentiment. I do kind of agree with Ethan, though, that, like, you need something to drive people to your console. And I think that companies know that. If every game was on every console, then it does come down to what UI do you like better? What controller do you like better? Which some people might like. I don't think it's the best business strategy. I kind of like having certain franchises tied to certain platforms, but if we can break down walls where there doesn't need to be walls.
Right.
And we've seen Xbox do that with cloud, with the PC expansion. PlayStation's now doing the PC expansion. We're seeing the barriers come down slowly.
Yeah, and going back to your point about cross-play, cross-progression, I think that's come such a long way in recent years, and I think it's just going to continue down that path, and I think that's a really good thing. There should be cross-progression. There should be cross-play. Captain Logan brought up a good point that MLB The Show, you can start a career mode on like my Xbox on Xbox Game Pass, and if I had bought this game for Switch, I could continue it on my Nintendo Switch. So even Nintendo is getting into the cross progression sort of realm. So I would love to see those barriers come down, because I think I want to see gamers from across the community interact with each other more, so there's less of this toxicity. I know it's never going to go away completely, but I feel like if we're playing together all the time and you get friends that are on different consoles and you're interacting with that community, less toxicity, more fun for everybody. But yes, I do think that there should still be some exclusives, especially just single player games like, you know, those big narrative adventures that PlayStation loves. You know, I think those should still exist.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you right now, Nintendo is
Never.
not gonna get on board
No,
with this.
absolutely not. They will forever hold on to their IPs. That's never gonna happen.
Some bigger like Fortnite and Fall Guy, like games that have some, but like their IP is gonna stay on it. Like I can't imagine the day Nintendo is like, we're Nintendo PC launcher, like the world is just gonna explode. It's so foreign in my mind to like even consider them, because they're so against stuff like that.
Imagine playing Mario on my Xbox. That just doesn't. I wouldn't want to. I'd be like, this is weird.
I'm streaming Mario through xCloud.
Oh, I just got a platinum trophy on Mario 64. It doesn't make sense.
Captain Logan, that's what I thought about Sonic. Well, listen, if Nintendo ever goes the way of Sega with consoles, then I think it's a different story where we start seeing their. But until
Sega's
that day,
dead ground.
Yeah,
at least their console market.
He also asked the question. Phil says this now, but where was he when people were upset about the Bethesda purchase? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's always interesting that they're kind of taking two approaches, and some people will be like, "Oh, he's just telling the FTC what they need to hear," and they very well could be. They're like, "This deal is too big. They need to keep it multi-plat for certain financial and legal reasons." Bethesda, not so much. Bethesda was really like, we can afford to keep these games exclusive to our platform. They are single player games. I get the sentiment though, that he does sometimes say one thing and then do another, right?
Yeah, he's a businessman. I mean, that's just the fact of it. And he's representing his brand and he's representing his company, and he's got to say the right things and to get these regulators on board with the acquisition. I also want to make the point that this acquisition is way bigger than the Bethesda acquisition. You're going to see a lot more games come out of this acquisition than you would the Bethesda. The Bethesda acquisition is probably going to give you 1 or 2, maybe 3 games a year. This one will probably pump out 5 to 6 games a year with how many studios there are that exist within Activision Blizzard King. So I think that's another reason why he's coming out and saying this, because this genuinely does scare some people, which I don't think it should, but it genuinely does worry some people that, oh my God, every game that's ever made is just going to be on Xbox and we're never going to play it on PlayStation.
And I do want to make the point, there are definitely going to be more Bethesda games on other platforms, especially if they come from ZeniMax Online or stuff like those live service online style games like we have
Elder
with
Scrolls
ESO.
Online is always going to be on PlayStation.
Absolutely. And they said legacy IP, so like the door is open for the possibility. So I don't personally think that I think most of the big ones are going to be Xbox, like obviously Starfield. I think Elder Scrolls, all that is coming.
You think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be exclusive?
I think so. Everything for Jez and other people more in the know, I'm pretty sure Elder Scrolls is. Fallout, I would imagine. But yeah, I think certain things like that are they're going to draw people to your console. But things like Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, or whatever the next online thing that they make, those can go over anywhere they want.
Exactly.
I just have to point this out. It made me laugh. Ghostly March says, Sega do what Nintendo don't, like go out of the console business.
Sega, the innovator in the industry.
It got me so good.
That's funny.
That was great. Yeah, no, absolutely. Does less exclusivity, maybe hint at timed console exclusives, does Captain Logan. It very well could. We could very well see a case, I think, of Xbox says play it first on Xbox for 6 months or whatever, or a year, or however long it is, where they basically take the studios they've now purchased that are first party but are too big to keep off other platforms and just limit them to a timed exclusivity deal.
Yeah.
So we can move on because our last story is literally just me taking a jab. Guys, Xbox Series X and S is not getting a price hike. Thank you, Jez Corden, for the stellar reporting. Him and the Windows Central team reached over to Xbox, and Xbox responded saying, "We are constantly evaluating our business to offer our fans great gaming options. Our Xbox Series S suggested retail price remains at $299. The Xbox Series X is $499. Thank you, Xbox, for not increasing the price of a console 2 years into the generation." I'm done getting messy now, guys. I promise. I assume you don't have anything to say about me trolling.
Look, I appreciate that Xbox isn't hiking the price, and I think it makes it. I mean, PlayStation didn't hike their price, at least in the United States. So I think there's obviously some indicator that this market would not be very receptive to a price hike, because the United States and Canada are definitely Xbox's main markets. Sony has to worry about, Japan and different countries. So I don't know. The world's crazy right now with all the different economic issues that we're dealing with. Who knows what the books look like at PlayStation? But PlayStation essentially made Xbox the more competitive console here in terms of pricing. I don't think it's going to come back to backfire that badly. I still think PlayStation's going to outsell Xbox again this generation. But we'll have to wait and see how long this price increase lasts, and if Xbox will maintain its stance on keeping their price lower.
For sure. We're not going to dive into that. Our No Limits, our PlayStation podcast, if you want to go listen to them and leave a rating, and you can win God of War Ragnarok. Just throwing that out there. So
I can't imagine Sam's happy, because they're already paying in the United Kingdom more money for games. They're paying like $82 worth for games. 70 pounds is worth like $82 US. So just to see more price increases for them, that's got to be tough.
Yeah, but our No Limits PlayStation podcast, we'll talk about the price hike, because let me tell you, they got some thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, they're fired up about
it. They're fired up. So make sure to listen to that when they record and come out on Tuesday of next week. But Ethan, that's all we got for the show, buddy.
Ooh.
I want to thank our entire chat. You guys have been lively today.
Go crazy.
Captain Logan coming in with one last question. Do you think the price hike for the console means PSVR 2 will be more expensive than people originally suspected? I've always said I think PSVR 2 is going to be like $500.
It's going to be very expensive.
I think people saying it was going to be like with the Quest 2 pricing, we're out of their mind. PlayStation it's going to be just as much as another console.
Yeah, I would agree, because they're really going to market PSVR 2 as sort of a premium VR experience, and they're going to have exclusives to PSVR 2. I think we saw Horizon have a VR game that was exclusive to PSVR 1. So it's definitely going to be marketed as a premium experience for PlayStation players. I would love to pick it up now that I have a PS5, but I guarantee that price point is going to be pretty high.
I'm not sold on VR, and I'm definitely not sold at a $500 entry point for VR.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential.
It could be cheaper. I'm just saying my personal guess is $500. I think it's basically going to be another console.
I mean, I did play No Man's Sky on my Quest, and I thought it was really fun. VR has a lot of potential. I want to try out Skyrim VR. I would love to jump in there and play Skyrim VR, but we'll see.
Well, guys, that's all for the show. So I want to leave you with this. VR makes my heart rate go up to about 150. So, Ethan, where can they find you?
You can find me at WhiteCDR1 on Twitter and Gravy3448 on Xbox. And now WhiteCDR1 on PSN. Add me.
Yes. And you can find me at the Muffin Monits of 1 and 7. I'm 0 and 7A. Follow us at Save Game Media to stay up to date with all of our latest content. We have podcasts coming out basically every single day. There's some form of content. So if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We need your help. And if you're listening on audio platforms, please drop us a rating, review. I think we're almost to 30 on Spotify and almost to 40 on Apple. So please drop us those reviews. We need it. It helps us grow. Until next week, we'll see you. Goodbye.
Peace.